I've helped many, many, many children, thousands of children all over the world. Cancer kids, leukemia kids.
He's a
humanitarian.
The real Michael Jackson.
Hi, I like your background.
Thank you. I thought it was appropriate.
Yes.
How are you going, Ellen? First of all, I saw a picture on your
Good.
Instagram a couple of days ago. You had a drip in your arm. You okay?
Oh, yeah. I'm on some antibiotics right now.
Yeah.
All good though.
You're okay? I'm
Yeah.
happy to postpone this if you're not feeling up to it. But,
No, I'm all good, but thank you. That's very
good.
nice of you. Thank you.
As I said to you in the message, so in 2018, I compiled a book. I don't know if you know about the book Humanitarian, and it's just basically, it's full of all the stories of people that Michael helped and the people that went to Neverland and kids he visited in hospitals and orphanages and all that sort of stuff.
That's really cool.
I thought it was overdue that all those stories were told and put in the public forum because they don't seem to be recognised or spoken about very often.
Yep.
So I did that in 2018, and actually your story's not in there. So I did a lot of research over a couple of years, but it wasn't until after I published the book that I stumbled across your story. So I'm really, really happy to chat to you now because now I'm turning the book into a podcast that's going to come out later in the year. And I'm really happy. There's a lot of stories in the book that are going to be on the podcast, obviously. But I'm really happy to speak to you because it's a story that wasn't in the book. And it's, from what I've heard, a great story that I'd love people to hear. I'd be happy to share it.
Yeah.
So
Where did you come across it?
Look, it's been replicated and it's in so many different Michael Jackson forums now. I think it's in like 5 or 6 different forums now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because I think the original blog where it appeared isn't out anymore, isn't there on the net anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, there's references back to the original website, but that's not there anymore. So I basically wanted to start the podcast. If you could take us back to your childhood and tell us what it's like as a child with cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed at like 3 months old. I'm not sure if you know a lot about CF, but it's mainly affects your lungs and your breathing. You get like recurrent lung infections. So I was pretty sick as a kid. Couldn't do like a lot of like athletic things or just running around and playing or whatever, like, things normal kids were doing. So I was into, art and music and stuff like that you didn't require physical exertion to participate in. So yeah, I was pretty sick growing up. And I can remember the first Michael Jackson song I heard. I think it was from the Free Willy movie.
Oh, yeah. Will you be there?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, listening to music was a big part of, just calming me down or relaxing me when I was sick or going to the doctors or, going for procedures or, it's just like a very calming thing, right? And like we can all relate to music. Everybody listens to music, right? Yeah, so it was just a good way to kind of escape my own reality. Just putting the headphones in and, not paying attention to anything else.
Yeah, I still do it now at 45 years old.
Right, exactly.
So you've discovered Michael Jackson, and so what sort of age were you then? I think that was around 93.
I was probably older than you would think. I think I was around maybe 12-ish.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the timeline when that song would have been out. I don't remember, but I was in like middle school, like sixth or
Yeah.
seventh grade. And I don't know what it was, but I just became like obsessed.
It's a pretty good era. It's a pretty good era of
Yeah.
Michael Jackson music. And so
Yeah.
your hospital visits are a regular thing for you at that age?
Yes. Yep. Was at the doctor's all the time, and way back then they would keep you in the hospital. So I'd be in the hospital for like 20-day stretches. So like today I can do everything at home, but back then that was not a thing. So yeah, I was there pretty often.
Man. And do you remember when you first came across the Make-A-Wish Foundation and how that got involved?
Yeah, I actually was in the hospital and I saw a commercial where this little kid, it was a commercial for Make-A-Wish, and this little kid like got to go on a beach vacation. And I remember like I was in the hospital bed like seeing this commercial, and I was like, I have to, submit myself to that. I should get a wish. And I at the time was crazy obsessed with Michael Jackson. Um, so I knew exactly what I wanted. There was no question.
Wow.
And it's not a typical wish for them.
No.
So
Had
I
you
filled out
heard?
I went on the computer, I filled out the form. And it took a long time. I don't know if I relayed that in the essay I had written about it, but it took quite a long time. Because of the magnitude of the wish. Most people, I volunteer for Make-A-Wish now. Most people go to Disney. That's like 90% of the wishes.
Yeah.
So to say that you want to go to Neverland and spend the day with Michael Jackson takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it took, I think it took a year and a half for them to finally get it done. And at the time, he was not doing wishes anymore. He had stopped because of all the negative press that he was getting. So he just had stopped working with them. So it took a lot of convincing. And they kept, asking me to change my wish. And I was like, no way. somehow you got to get this to work.
Wow. And so over this time that you're waiting to hear back from Make-A-Wish, your health wasn't getting any better?
No, it was definitely getting worse. By that point, I was I was going through the testing at that point to get listed for a lung transplant when I was waiting for that wish.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I think actually at that point, like they didn't even want me to really travel because I was so sick. And once you're on a transplant list, you kind of need to be in the area if you get called. And but nobody was going to stop me from going.
yeah. I love it. I love that drive. 13-year-old Natasha. So it took a while for your wish to come back. And how did that happen? How did they come back to you and say, "Hey, guess what?"
It came out of the blue. I can remember, I hadn't heard from them in a long time. I just, they were just working on it and we weren't really in constant contact about it. I can remember when the call came, just like out of the blue. I hadn't talked to them in a while, and they called me and they said, they were like, so you're going to go to Neverland, you're going to pack your bags, and you're going in like 3 days. Like it was like
What?
immediate. It wasn't like, it's getting close, we're going to work on a date, or like, it was like, pack your bags. Like they said yes, and you're going.
And were
Like
you at home at this time
immediately.
when you got that phone call?
I think I almost passed out.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
was so unexpected because they had been working on it for so long. it was just in the back of my mind. It was just, didn't know when the call would come. I didn't know if they ever would actually make it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I almost passed out.
Oh,
And the
wow.
fact that I didn't really have a chance to even like really think about it, was like, pack your bags, the flight is in 2 days, and get ready.
Oh, yeah, because you're in Boston, right?
Yep.
So how far is that from Neverland? Is that a big flight?
It's like a 6 or 7 hour flight.
Okay, that's decent.
Yeah,
Wow.
not long compared to going to Australia.
No, that's ridiculously long. But 6 or 7 hours is still long, especially for a child and especially for someone who's not feeling well. It's
Yes,
a big
that's very
deal.
true. Very true.
Um,
Yes.
wow, so you've got 2 or 3 days to. Did you sleep in those 2 or 3 days?
Probably not. And I had no idea what I was going to wear. I was like, what could I possibly wear? Like, the outfit needs to be perfect.
What do you wear? And they told you you're going to meet him?
Yes. They said,
Wow.
there were no real specifics about it, just that we would get to go to Neverland and have an opportunity to visit with them. There was no real outline of how the day would be or how it would go, or I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. So how did the day go? How did it all start?
So we traveled there on a bus from whatever hotel I was staying at, and there were no cameras allowed. And this is way before cell phones and
Yeah.
everybody having a camera.
Yeah.
So we get to Neverland, and Neverland is have you been there? Like,
Yes.
have you? So how it's kind of like in the middle of like nowhere, really. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect it. You're kind of like driving, and then all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah.
I remember going up the driveway. There was like music playing everywhere. There were flowers everywhere. There were just like angelic statues everywhere. It's just like out of a dream, basically.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And who were you with?
I got to bring a friend. My mom came and she got to bring a friend. So there were four of us. We got there. God, it's so long ago. I'm trying to think how the day started. We got there and they brought us to, where did we go first? They brought us all around like the whole compound. I think the first place we went was maybe his arcade, and he was not with us at first.
Yeah.
They were kind of just showing us, somebody was showing us around, maybe his assistant with the Make-A-Wish people. And
So there's a
he
small group of
came,
you.
I can't remember. There was like a team of people he had there that was showing us around.
Yeah.
And they were filming. He had people filming.
Oh, wow.
Which I think he just maybe always had people filming, just to
Yeah, I get that
archive
idea.
kind of what was going on.
Yeah.
So he came into the arcade. I remember he was wearing like the classic black pants and red shirt. Like exactly what you would see him wearing anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Hat, fedora.
he didn't have a hat on, and he was a lot taller than I was expecting.
Yep.
And I was so nervous. Like, I couldn't say anything. I just was so nervous. Like, I couldn't believe that it was just him, like, walking like near us. It was just unexplainable, really.
Yeah.
And he talked to my mom right away. And I was just like, oh my God, like, he's just like talking like a normal person. Like, you just feel like he was just like out of this world, right? Like,
Yep.
you know, the fact he was just having like a normal conversation, I just couldn't believe it. And at
Yeah.
the, you know, at the time I was 18. So, you know, today I would probably react differently now that I'm older and more mature and wiser. But, you know, I couldn't even say anything, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So he kind of spent the day with us going around to the rides on the
Wow.
trolley. We got to watch, this is kind of funny, but he watched in his theater, we watched like music videos of him with him,
Oh, wow.
which is kind of funny. I don't know. There wasn't really a whole lot of like interaction really. Like he was very quiet and shy and reserved, but you were
Yeah.
like doing all of these things with him. But you know, it wasn't like he was like a chatterbox or like very talkative or you know, just I think he just liked to watch the people around him enjoying all of the stuff there, you know,
Yeah.
enjoying the rides, enjoying like I remember the candy was like crazy. Like there was just candy like everywhere.
Yeah.
He had lunch with us. We sat and had like lunch outside,
Oh, wow.
which uh, somebody had catered it. And I remember asking somebody from Make-A-Wish who paid for that because there was just like so much food and candy and soda, and they said he had paid for it, which I found
Wow.
so like surprising,
It's amazing.
you
And is
know.
this just for your group of four, or was there other groups there and
Nope,
other people, other kids?
there were other kids there and a lot of staff, a lot of people from Make-A-Wish, a lot of people that were obviously with him. There were like maybe 15 other kids there.
Okay, yeah.
So there was quite a big group,
Yeah.
which I think is why they were able to kind of talk him into doing it, because there were so many people that, you know, wanted to go there and meet him through Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was definitely the oldest person. I'm gonna say, so I was 18. I'm gonna say most of the other kids were like 6, 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
like much younger than I was. Um, we spent like the full day there, maybe 10 hours.
Oh, wow.
It was
Wow.
a long day.
Did you go into the
So
house?
so this is kind of an interesting story, but he had cousins there, that were playing basketball, like off to the side, playing basketball, like two of them. And so there were four of us there. So a friend that my mom had brought used to be, she was an ex-professional basketball player.
Oh,
So
okay.
she said to these cousins, hey, if I play you in a game of horse or whatever, and I beat you, can you get Natasha in the house with them? Because they had not brought they had not brought us in his house. That was kind of like off limits, I think.
Yeah. How funny.
And she beat them, of course. You know, I don't think they assumed she had played professionally. So
Wow.
I did get like 10 minutes inside with him in his home with Prince and Paris, who were very young at the time.
Wow.
Maybe like 4 and 5, really, really young. And he told me he liked my outfit, so I did a good job picking out my outfit.
Well done.
It
What were
was
you
worth
wearing?
the effort. He just talked very normally, you know, where are you guys from? You know, how have you liked the day? Just like
Yeah.
normal chit chat. And he
Yeah.
introduced his two kids, and he did actually say that he had one on the way, which
Wow.
was, I guess, a big deal for him to say that,
Yeah.
because it
Of
was
course.
you know, a secret at the time.
Yeah.
I remember he didn't have shoes on. He had white socks on when he came in.
Of course.
And his voice was a lot deeper than it is normally.
Okay.
That's like the only, people always want some kind of like crazy tidbit about the
Yeah.
day. And that's like the only thing I can really tell you that I was surprised by, that he had like a really deep voice.
Wow.
But he was very gracious when we were in this, beautiful room with him. Like everything in it looked very expensive. Like if you feared you were going to break something, and it would be like, something very valuable. The kids were so well behaved. I remember they were just like the cutest things.
Did they
Sadly,
speak to
no
you?
pictures.
Of course.
It would have been great to have been able to take a picture.
Yeah. But the kids said hello and how
The
are
kids
you?
said hello. They introduced themselves.
How cute.
Yeah,
That's pretty
super
special.
cute. Yes, because the house was off limits for the whole group. So, and the cousins, they came through. They were like, come on in, like really quickly, like come in, and he'll, meet with you guys really quickly.
Do you remember who they were, the cousins?
I know that I want to say, is there one that like his name starts with an O?
Omar?
Maybe. They looked familiar to me. Like they looked like I had seen them like in pictures before or something.
Yeah. That's pretty cool that they kept their end of the bargain.
Yeah, because they definitely didn't have to.
Yeah. Unreal.
So that was quite special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're there with staff and Make-A-Wish people. Who are they? They've got a bit of an itinerary for the day. So they're like, okay, now we're going to go and do this. Now we're going to go do that. So you broke away from that for a little while.
Yes. And actually, we were kind of all walking on this path together. And they were like, come on, like, come out of the group and come inside, like really fast, like hurry up.
Oh, wow.
So that was quite a special thing.
Yeah. But then that finishes and you have to go join the group at the rest of Neverland, which isn't a bad thing anyway. I mean, you're at Neverland.
Yes, right. Right.
So what did you get up to then?
So I think that was actually at the very end of the day. So right after that, we like walked to the bus and left. It was right at the very end.
Wow. And did you associate with any other people? Did you meet any other people there and hear their stories?
I'm gonna say not really, just because there was such a huge age difference.
Yeah.
I'm 18 and they're like 6 and 7, so they're
and you've got your friend and your mum.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how does a day like that end? I'm just wondering, don't you just want to say, no, I'm not going, I'm staying here?
Yes, because I remember saying like, what are we gonna do when we get back to the hotel? Like what do you even do after a day like that? Like, how do you ever do anything normal again?
Yeah.
And I remember, I think we went to see a movie.
Now, and on that, when you were in the theater, do you remember what music videos you watched with Michael?
We watched all of them. Like we were in that theater for, a good hour.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, unlimited candy. I just remember like the soda and the candy was just like nonstop. And this is horrible, but he was drinking Orange Crush.
Yeah.
So we were kind of seated near him. It's like a movie theater basically, but with better seating. We were seated kind of near him, and I was watching him like drink these sodas. So when we left the theater, I went and took them. And like I took home these like empty soda cans that he had drank out of, which today sounds crazy, but at the
No,
time
it
it
doesn't.
seemed appropriate.
Yeah. How long did you hold on to them for?
I still have them somewhere.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah. They're in a box, like packed away somewhere.
So, do you feel like, as someone who's 18 and has some health issues, you were on the waiting list at the time to get a lung transplant? Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, do you feel like that day affected your health?
Yeah, I think I think that just waiting for that wish kept me kind of going.
Okay.
Like it gave me a lot of it gave me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So it kind of helped, when I was really sick to just think like, oh, this may happen one day. Like you got to keep pushing, you got to keep going. Gave
Yeah.
me something to almost like aspire to.
Yeah.
And then, well, after I met him, I'm gonna say I probably had the transplant maybe a year later.
Yeah.
Um, and it just, after I met him, I think that like the music videos and the music and the performances meant more to me, like
Yeah.
helped me out even more.
Yeah.
Gave me confidence and healing and meditation, like even more after I had met him. It was even more powerful, I think.
I could imagine. Is that because then from that day forward, when you look at a video or listen to his music, you're taken back to Neverland and you're taken back to feeling those feelings?
Definitely,
Yeah, the
definitely.
body remembers. So you went on to have the lung transplant,
Yes.
which is good news. So you did, your health got better after that.
Yes. Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. So a transplant is not a cure, but it makes things more manageable, and I can breathe today. Like, at that time, shortly after that, I think I went on oxygen and I got quite sick, and you can't function when you can't breathe. So
Yeah, of
um
course.
yeah, the new lungs were, I could just breathe like, you can breathe, it just happens. There's no effort, there's no thought process, it just is.
It's amazing to think about the things that we take for granted as people with healthy lungs. You would
Yeah,
never
I mean,
think.
even today, I find myself taking it for granted because I don't think about it anymore. You know,
Yeah. And you've had two, right? Two
yes,
transplants. Wow,
yes, yes, yep.
that's amazing. So you had one lung transplant. How long did were they okay until you needed a second?
They lasted. So I had my first transplant in 2003 and my second in 2012.
That doesn't. I mean, I don't know a lot about them, but 9 years doesn't sound like a long time for lungs to need
Yeah, it
replaced.
doesn't. Yeah. I think actually the average, or way back then, the average was only 5 years. So I had surpassed, what the
Oh,
average was way back then. Today
yeah,
it's more, but yeah, they haven't figured out a way for your body to not eventually reject them, because, they don't belong to you, right? Your body sees it as kind of an invader. So
right.
they still haven't figured out a foolproof way for your body to just accept them as their own.
Yeah.
So still a lot of things to figure out.
But you're feeling good now?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good. And as I said,
Yep.
I read your blog and I um, had a look and did a bit of research. You love your food, it looks like.
I'm a big foodie. Yep.
You're a big foodie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I need to get back to blogging. I haven't blogged in a while.
yeah, I wasn't sure because I think one of your last blog posts was like 2019, 2020.
Yeah, it's probably a while ago. Yeah, you're gonna make me now get back to get back to it.
Yeah, good, because you're a really talented writer, and I really enjoyed
Oh,
reading
thank
some of
you.
your stuff. I read an
Thank you.
article I think you wrote for Glamour magazine, and
Yes. Yep.
is writing what you do for a profession.
Yes. Yep.
Well, you're very good at it, so yeah, please keep
Thank
going.
you.
I'll
Oh,
subscribe to
thank
your
you so
blog
much.
and read it.
Thank you.
And you volunteer with Make a Wish. You still do that?
Yes, I do. I do. Yep. I mean, for them to have figured out how to make that happen, I can only go back and pay it forward, you know.
Wow. So what do you do with them?
So, like, I will go to the child's house and kind of get their information and what kind of wish they want, and keep track of them and let them know how the wish process is going, and when the wishes when it happens, I get to call them and tell them. And I never got to call anybody and say you're going to Neverland, but
But you would still
but
grant some pretty cool wishes.
yes, yeah,
Disneyland?
yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Disneyland? Have you
Lots
been
of
able to?
Disneylands. Yep, that's definitely the most popular wish.
Right. You know what? For a lot of kids these days, they probably don't know what Neverland was like
I
we did in the
know, I know.
90s. So it's the
Isn't
same
that
thing.
crazy? But I do think a lot of little kids do know Michael Jackson and his music.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, his music is definitely timeless. I've got two
Yes.
kids, and I know my kids are 20 and 18 now, but when they were kids, they discovered, and without my influence, I was no influence at all. Um, they discovered Michael Jackson, and all their little friends discovered Michael Jackson. There's something, I don't know, timeless and pure about his music that
Yes.
every
Yes.
generation just seemed to discover him again, and his
Right,
music
right.
videos. And I tell my kids, these music videos were made 30, 40 years ago. And they're like, really? Because they're still so good. And I'm
Isn't
like, yeah,
that crazy?
that's testament to how ahead of his time Michael was and how talented he was, that these music videos from 40 years ago, kids are still discovering now. And with the technology, how far it's
Right.
come, they're still amazing videos and they're still amazing music. That's mind boggling. So it's
Yes.
testament
Yes.
to talent.
Yes. So how did you get into liking Michael Jackson?
So I'm 45, so I discovered Michael around the Thriller era,
Okay.
and so I followed him all through the Thriller, Bad, Dangerous, and History eras. Yeah, I was a fan, and then in the 90s, I saw him on his History tour out here in Australia. Um, I
Awesome.
got to I got to meet him there and say hello and have a
Oh,
little
no
chat.
kidding.
Yeah, so of course that skyrocketed my fandom
Yep.
status from just a fan to, and then I suppose that was in the 90s. I was about 18 as well, 19 when I met him.
Yep.
And then I created a blog about his visits to Australia. And then whilst doing that and doing my research, I discovered all the hospitals and orphanages that he visited and started looking deeper into that and all the humanitarian things that he was doing,
Yep.
and found it quite unjust that none of those stories were being told by the media. So then I
Yep.
started working on that and compiling all that information and then released the book.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So we're getting these stories out there and, getting truth out there and,
Yep.
um, yeah, just trying to get these stories out there. Because I think it's important now that he's gone that there's so much
Yep.
crap written that, his history includes the truth. And
Yep.
it's a beautiful truth, and I hope that other people can be inspired, like you, who give back and now volunteer with the foundation that helped you accomplish your dreams. These stories need to be told now these days. We don't have any
Yeah.
heroes left in the world these days, I don't think so.
Yeah. So true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you're doing an awesome, awesome thing.
thank you so much. Thanks for replying to my message and thanks for chatting with me. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you wanted to add in about your day at Neverland?
Um, no, I don't think so. My only like message would be just in general that, if you really want something, you have to just keep, praying or wishing, or, whatever it is you do. Like I prayed to meet Michael for years and years and years and years. Um, and whatever it is you want or hope for, dream for, it can be, it doesn't have to be, meeting your hero or whatever. You just gotta keep doing it,
Yeah. Persistence.
can't give up.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, it just came to my mind. Do you remember what rides you went on?
Yep, I remember these giant swings, the swings that like go, all right, swings that like kind of go like this,
Yep.
not like back and forth. Yes, they go out and like spin
Yep.
around. I remember those. I remember Ferris wheel. Those are the two that stick out in my mind.
Man,
And the train, I remember riding the train everywhere.
unreal. Tash, I'll wind it up. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I really, really appreciate it. And as I said, I'll get your address and I'll send you a message and send you my book. And I hope you like
Awesome.
that.
Thank you so much. It was great to get to chat with you.